All right, what's going on, guys? Can you hear me? What is up, everybody? Okay, looks like you guys can hear me based on some of the responses. Um, give people a couple minutes to come in, and then we will get started. Make ETH go to 1550 again. I think that is a little unlikely for now. That would be bad. What's up, everybody? Market's not looking too bad. I think this dip gets bought back up. Bitcoin looks weird. Why, when I stream, does the market crash? That's a good question. I don't think it'll continue, though. We should be all right. I'm long a few different things. I think Ethereum bounces right around here or around 2030, but I think this 2048 level should hold us, so I think we'll be all right. Spot and futures are a lot closer today than yesterday. Yesterday there was like a $300-400 discrepancy, and today FTX and Bybit. Well, Bybit is pretty much at the same exact price as Coinbase, so that's good to see. FTX is always a little bit higher. Okay, so plan for the stream will be, I'm going to talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum for sure. I'll talk about Sol because I'm super bullish on Sol right now. Might talk about a couple others, and then I will do my best to answer as many questions as I can. I might take some requests, probably not many like super small cap ones, just because I don't trade that personally. So I don't feel like I'd be much of an expert, but if you guys have chart requests of coins that I trade frequently, then I'd be happy to do those. But for now, yeah, we'll start with some Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then we'll get going. Let's see. Thank you for the retweet, Forest Gains. I think I put this in the Telegram too. Yeah, okay. All right, we got it posted. So if people are late, then that is on them. So let us jump right into it. So let's start with Bitcoin. Let's zoom out, start on a daily chart. Bitcoin's kind of just been consolidating. So you can see our last 5 daily candles have been pretty tight. You know, they're between 57.5 and like 60, so like a 2.5K range, which is roughly, like a 4% range. I'm not too worried about Bitcoin, to be honest. I think alts are starting to take a little bit of the driver's seat here. If we quickly take a peek at the Bitcoin dominance, you can see it is starting to bleed down. I posted a chart on this yesterday, but if we lose this 57.25 level, I'd expect alts to continue to outperform. I don't know entirely if charting Bitcoin dominance is a meme or not, but it seems like it does work sometimes, so I will continue to do it. Back to Bitcoin though, I haven't really taken any trades on Bitcoin. Let me see. Monday's range this week, we have been consolidating right above Monday's high, but the range that I kind of think looks pretty clean is from this low to this high, right there, right there. So the reason I like that is the mid-range interactions, and I just think this range high sweep was pretty clean. And if you split this up again, like it looks like we're just consolidating, trading within this half of the range, right? So what I'd be looking for on Bitcoin to get long, you know, it would really have to start breaking above here, or I think if it came down to around 55, the origin of this pump, really deep retrace would be here. I don't think we get that, but I would absolutely love to long around 53K. Once again, don't really think that happens, but if it does, that would be pretty sweet. The monthly open, you can see we've been chopping around that quite a bit, but I think that would be the first step for this pushing up a bit more, would be if we can reclaim that, because right now the way it is, it looks like we put in a low, lower high, just broke this low, and we retested it right there. So for Bitcoin to either be bullish or keep consolidating, I'd want it to get above here, or maybe just keep chopping around this level. So I guess with that said, Bitcoin isn't the clearest to me, and that's why I have been trading alts, and also there just hasn't been a lot of volatility with Bitcoin. I haven't really found, or I don't really see much of a reason to trade, to trade Bitcoin right now when the alt setups are so much better and there's a lot more volatility. So yeah, Bitcoin just seems like it's ranging between 58K and 60K, and I'm kind of just going to keep letting it do its thing unless we get a nice clean break above 60K. If we wanted to break down, let's see. I guess this range is pretty clean too. So that's just this price leg right here. So it's the low from this consolidation to like 57K. And then the initial high we made right here at 60K came down, swept the low, reclaimed the mid-range, chop around there, sweep the high, test the mid-range, retest range high at 60K. And now we are trading around the mid-range again. I'm actually going to keep this on there because I think that is pretty clean. So if this does something like this, reclaims the monthly open at 58.9K in the mid-range, I think it will look good for a bit more upside. Quickly looking at the 4-hour picture, I'm honestly not too surprised by this. This was 12-hour supply right here, around 50, or basically 60K up to 61.3, and I was looking for a sweep into that level, and that's exactly what we got. I had these highs marked for quite some time. We swept that. I didn't enter a short just because alts looked so bullish, and so I didn't really expect it to go straight down here, but in hindsight, opening a short at 60K probably would have been a solid thing to do, just because, I mean, if Bitcoin's just consolidating, you're making money from funding, and it's a hedge against the alt positions, but it is what it is. That's hindsight now. If it does take out this Monday's high from 2 weeks ago at 60,700, like let's say this keeps consolidating and then pokes up and sweeps that into like 61K, I would probably take a hedge short just to hedge my alt positions, because I am long quite a few alts. But if we get like a nice flip and actually hold above 60,700, then I think Bitcoin will be ready to not necessarily take the lead, but at least join the party with the rest of the coins that are pumping right now. So that's pretty much Bitcoin. I don't think there's too much more to say. I would caution you guys to trade this price action that we've literally seen for the past week. I think a lot of people are just getting chopped up here if they're trying to trade Bitcoin. Same with Ethereum earlier today. These strong wicks and dumps and just this ranging environment, unless you're taking setups at the extremes, like if you want a long sweep to the low, short sweep to the high, then that's good. But anything in between, I would caution you to stay away from that. So that's Bitcoin. I think that pretty much encompasses my thoughts on it. Not sure if there really would be any questions because there isn't an immediate trade setup that I'm looking for. But if this either starts breaking above 60K or below 57K, that's when we would look to step in and take some plays. I think it's funny when I post on Twitter, like having squigglies going in two separate directions, and someone will be like, so up or down? And I'm like, well, yeah, like that's literally trading. You plan for multiple scenarios, and then whatever happens, you execute on it. I don't care about predicting what happens. I don't care about predicting, oh, it's gonna do this or it's gonna do that. I'd much rather plan for scenarios and then execute on them. And we can talk about that right now with Ethereum, because that's exactly what I did. So earlier today, I posted these two scenarios, right? Let me hide that a little. Posted these two scenarios. I'm either looking for a flip of the range high to get long, or I'm looking for a sweep into 4-hour demand to get long. And let's see, right here. Here it is. So this was what, like 6 hours ago or something like that. And what I was telling people or cautioning people was to not just trade this price action right here, because this is just going to stop you out. Because maybe you see this sweep and then you're like, okay, I'm going to long. And then it comes down and then it sweeps this and you're like, okay, I'm going to long right here again. And then it comes down, and at that point you're like, oh, I don't want to catch this knife. I think this is going to nuke. And then it bounces straight up. So that's what happens when you trade emotionally and you don't see the bigger picture. So I tweeted this and someone was like, oh, so you think so up or down, basically. And I was like, well, yes, those are the two directions price can go. And your job as a trader is to plan what you want to do given those scenarios. So this scenario right here played out. I didn't want to touch this around the mid-range, but it started breaking down. I thought the low could be in here. There was another range that I was kind of looking at, and that would have been this. But the reason I didn't like this one as much was because of how choppy this was around the mid-range. Whereas, oops, keyboard's in my way. Whereas with this range, these mid-range interactions were just money. Like, this is exactly what you want to see. I guess I didn't have that one yet, but that's what I wanted to see. And then I was like, okay, that adds more validity to this range, to this analysis here. And then another thing that added confluence, let me delete these, was also, how about this, guys? Nice buyback here. So at the beginning of the stream, told you guys we wouldn't dump through that. Another thing that added some confidence to this play was also we have a flat top on this 4-hour candle, so I can almost guarantee you in the next 3 hours we see 2100, but we'll see. The other thing that added confluence was this H4 4-hour demand. So this was the last down move where I think buyers loaded up before we pumped like $150 here. So I figured buyers would be stepping in there. So when high time frame demand lines up with a range low, that's something I'm looking to take advantage of. And there are two ways that I play these. So the first way is setting limits at demand, which I did here. I had some at 2014, 2010, and 2006. So basically averaged in this upper section of the demand. So that's one way of doing it. Either longing with limits, if you have a key low and then demand, or you can wait for a candle to close to confirm the sweep. So in this instance, if you were watching, let's say, the 15-minute time frame, this candle right here, just so you guys can see it a little better, this one closed above this low. So if you can kind of see with that dotted line, just barely, but it respected it really well. Closed above that low, and that would have confirmed the sweep. So you could have entered at like 2037 after the confirmation of that candle closing. And then you could put your stop here because you assume that that would be the low end. And here, I'm just going to draw it on this side. So your entry would have been right there with a stop at that low, targeting the range high. So really solid 3.3 hour setup. I did not add there. I could have. Sometimes I'll enter an initial position with limits and then add once I get confirmation. But I was comfortable with the position size that I entered here and didn't want to add right away. However, if we flip the mid-range, I think you could look to add, or the higher probability would be when we break above the range high, and then this reaccumulation pattern would be complete. So maybe it does something like this, chops around here, whatever, and then once it gets above the range high, then you're looking for the next leg up. So that is what I'm seeing on Ethereum. That was the setup I took earlier today. That's the long that I'm in. Why wouldn't you take the first? Oh, are you talking about this one right here? I didn't long that one because I wanted the extra confluence of it tagging the H4 demand, but that could have been a sneaky way to get some people to buy early, because that definitely was a valid sweep. But if you look like where the sweep went, I just didn't think price had met its objective from that wick. It didn't dip into demand yet, so I didn't think that many people would have gotten filled, and so that's why I waited. And I just think that extra level of confluence makes me more confident when I enter a trade like that. So I always like to have the demand level as well as the range sweep to make me a little more confident with it. If it did go up from there, I kind of would have just said like, okay, I missed out on that one. And then maybe I would have looked for a play above the mid-range, or once again just waited for 2150 to flip, because ultimately I think once that flips, we're going up for the next big leg. And so if you want to play very conservative, very safe, I think that will be the way to do it. However, I will caution you, I've said that like 3 times now, and I don't know if I've ever really said that before, so I don't know what's going on. But I do think it could chop around here and then maybe sweep that high. So be careful of that to not get faked out. Let me look at this again really quick. Okay. So maybe we do something like that, sweep the high, come down into this really nice hourly demand that we just formed and the mid-range, and then go from there. So it kind of just depends if the reaccumulation is complete already or not. But for a range breakout play, I would want to see it like have a nice aggressive move above, and then you look for something like that. I don't want to just see like a little 15-minute candle close above and then get rejected. Like that's not going to make me add to my long. So got to be a little patient with it. We are starting to get rejected a little bit here, but not too worried. I still think it could come down and tag the range low at like 2030. But we'll see what happens. I wouldn't want to be trading within this range with super tight stops, just because, I mean, look how wicky this is. We got wicks here, big wick there, wick up here, big wicks there. The reason I felt comfortable with a 1.27% stop loss, as we talked about earlier, is because this demand was right here. Could you expand a little on why ETH will outperform Bitcoin in April? Yeah, we can look at the ETH BTC chart here in a sec. Could it also be topped here, you think? Anything's possible, man. But I find it unlikely. I think this is a legit breakout above previous all-time highs. We had a really strong candle breaking through that, highest daily close ever. Now we came back and retested this 2048 level. That's the dotted line that I have marked here. Came back and retested that, and we've bounced pretty well from it. So if this nukes straight away back down below 2,000 and losing this level, then I'd be like, okay, maybe that could be an issue. But yeah, the way it is here, it doesn't look like it's topped, but hey, you never know. Anything can happen. I can't say it's not topped out with 100% certainty. So I just have to take it one step at a time, and I'm just going to keep trading setups that I am comfortable with. So let's look at ETH BTC, because this is how we determine what we think will perform better, Bitcoin or Ethereum. So if the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio is going up, that means Ethereum is gaining in value compared to Bitcoin, and that would mean BTC USD is, or ETH USD is performing better than BTC USD. So let's zoom out a bit. Weekly time frame. We have 3 key levels that we've been watching. Actually, I think this was a monthly. Yeah. So this was monthly support right here. It was basically the resistance level that pushed us down to make new all-time lows, and we had some really clean interaction with it. It's the dotted line. I don't know. I guess you guys can't see that too well, but it's just kind of messy here. We had really clean interactions with it here, resistance once again, and then support there. So came up, resistance, rejected. We broke through it, retested it. Whoa. Retested it, and it held as support, and now we're bouncing again. So that's this 0.031 level that I have marked. And then these are 2 resistance levels that I'll be using to take profit. I think when the USD pair is in price discovery mode, like Ethereum is now, I think using the BTC pairs is a really great way of taking profit, because when this comes into resistance here, I'd expect it to pull back, and that means for whatever this period of time is when it's pulling back, Bitcoin will outperform. So I would want to be in some Bitcoin instead. But for as long as I'm expecting upside on Ethereum, I think Ethereum outperforms. And from a higher time frame perspective, we bounce to this support, we're holding it, and after we bounce from support, I expect resistance. So I do think, I don't know how long it takes, but I'll be looking for ETH to outperform Bitcoin until we get to this 0.053 level. Zooming in a little more, I think we had some lower time frame accumulation here in this range. Reason I think that is, for one, it happened right, what is this gray level? Weekly? I have no idea. Oh, it's that. Whatever. I don't need that on there. First of all, it happened right around a major support level, so I would expect people to be buying ETH BTC around this support, and we spent a good, like a month here ish. 38 days within this range, so I think that's more than enough time for people to load up on Ethereum, and I kind of think that's what was going on here. So we made this low, made the high. I mean, this is the same range setup we look for on other things. We swept the low, took out the high, came back, took out the low again, and then at that point, I tweeted this probably a week and a half ago, that I'll be looking for Ethereum to flip the mid-range, go to the range high, and as long as we stay above this range high, I think this pattern has played out, and we are good for more upside here. So that's kind of the main idea behind my ETH BTC bullishness. And also, I would say this is a pretty nice SR flip at the 0.035 level. That's the resistance that initially rejected us here. We broke through it, dipped, held it as support. So I would expect that to push up from here. So, yeah, I guess that pretty much explains the ETH BTC bullishness. Let me just take a look at this, see how things are doing. It looks fine. Never, one thing I will say, never close a setup based on like a single lower time frame candle. I bought 4-hour demand here, so I'm not going to close because of, let's say, one really ugly dump candle or something like that. I think a lot of people do that, and it kind of fuds you out of your setup, so to speak. Also, I think it's really great how well the hourly chart held this range low and respected that with these hourly closes. But yeah, I think that's a really great way to lose money if that's what you're going for. Get shaken out of your setup from lower time frame PA. That's called getting chopped up by the noise. At least that's one thing you could call it. So let's talk about Sol. Also, Cope. Cope is cool. Siri or Siri, I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. This guy, oops, on Twitter, basically just gave away 2,000 Cope to anyone who wanted it. And now when this is at 3,000 or at $3, he basically gave away like $6,000 to anyone on crypto Twitter who wanted in on Cope. So that's pretty cool. And I have that on my watch list now because I think it's a pretty good coin. So Sol, kind of the same thing as a bunch of different things. This is kind of Atom. It looks kind of like Atom to me, except this consolidation already played out. But basically, Sol went on an insane run, going from like $1 to $15, and then we ranged for a little over a month, and now we have finally broken out of this range and we're holding above it. As you can see, we held it really well there and held it once again as support there. So the range high is holding really well. That makes me pretty confident that this is a legit breakout. And when you consolidate for a month, you don't just look for this to push up like 10, 20%, whatever it is. I'm looking for Sol to go up a ton. I also am very confident in the fundamentals of Sol, the Sol ecosystem. And I actually used it. And I'm sure you guys have seen on Twitter how on Uniswap or whatever, people are paying hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars in gas fees. And when I got my Cope airdrop from Siri, whatever, I apologize, Siri, I can't pronounce things correctly. When I got it, I was like, okay, what am I doing? I want to transfer this to FTX now because I just would rather hold my coins on FTX than in my Solit, I think, the Sol wallet. And okay, long story short, I'm rambling on now, but I paid 2 cents in fees to move around $6,000. Like obviously it wasn't that much. It was just the airdrop that he sent out of Cope. But to move that Cope from the Sol wallet to FTX, it literally cost 2 cents. And it happened in like 5 seconds. So that makes me pretty dang bullish on the Sol ecosystem. And also Sol Starter is launching this month, which I think will kind of bring a bunch of hype to Sol. So I'm basically just rolling over a fair amount of profit on FTX, like USD profit that I get from trades into Sol, just because I want as much Sol as I can have. Because the chart looks bullish and the fundamentals are very bullish, and the market cap is still way lower than I think it deserves. So as far as setups go, I don't really see anything right now. I mean, this was a really clean SR flip, and then this was another really clean SR flip, but I am in a leverage long on Sol from, I think it was this sweep, around 18.6. But most of what I'm doing with Sol is just trying to accumulate as much as I can, because I am super bullish on this. Do your own research, but Sol will be a outperformer in my opinion. All right, let me look through the chat a little bit. What are you expecting for Sol market cap? I don't know exactly what it's going to go to, but a lot higher than what it's at now. Thanks, Main. No problem. Forest gains. Yeah, not trader main, but you can still be my main. You know what I'm saying? Trying to become a better trader. Do you know of any books? Not really. I didn't read a single book about trading. What I know is from self-taught, a lot of trial and error, and then just making use of free resources and whatever online that you can find. There's a lot of good content on Twitter. You just kind of need to know where to look. Serum. Let's look at Serum. Oh, also Sol BTC. This thing is such a chad and is not too far from making a new all-time high. So you love to see an alt BTC pair getting close to making a new all-time high. Yeah, I'll look at Serum and DOT, because those are two coins that I personally have some interest in. DOT looks really good. That's old. Let me clean some of this up. Oh my gosh. Don't know how to use a mouse today. That's old too. This is old. Let's mark up a clean chart, hey boys. Let's see. We got a new monthly open. So I'll mark that. That almost got tagged. Monthly open. Let's get our Monday's range on here. Oh, that one's far away. I don't really need that too much. Let's zoom out a little. Look for, oops. I guess Sol Perp doesn't have as much as, or Serum Perp, Serum USD. There we go. Wow, I like the same stuff on this one. What was I thinking? Dang, that was a banger. All right, bear with me, guys. I would say we are trading within this price leg. Mid-range has pretty good interactions there. So after we made this high, this was the initial low we bounced from, and then the high we made before pulling back. So that's why I pulled those levels as a range. Nice move below the lows. You can see the mid-range has been good resistance and then support. I think the next major play for Sol would be above here, kind of a range breakout trade. I don't really like calling it a breakout trade, because when I see people talk about breakout trades, I feel like they're FOMOing into a random candle. But if I start to see Sol trading above here, I'll feel like this accumulation is complete and it's ready for the next leg higher. So that's one obvious play that I'd be looking for. Otherwise, I think a sweep into the mid-range and this demand right here below these lows, if this does come down again, could be another opportunity to long. Or maybe it maybe it goes a little deeper, like here, and then when it gets back above, a little shift in market structure, flip the mid-range, then I think that could look good too. Do I use high block charts? I do not. I did for a little when they were free, but I just don't. I didn't actually use it enough to continue. I mean, like, I think it's interesting, but I don't think I need it. Dot. So Dot is super bullish. I posted this chart a couple days, probably 2 days ago. But basically this level, what time frame did I post? 8 hour maybe? I don't remember. This level had been capping price quite a bit. Now we finally broke through. I think this is a legit breakout, and I think bidding this 40.5 is the move on Dot. If it does pull back more, probably keep a stop around here. But if we get something like this, I would definitely be looking for more longs around 40. I do have some spot Dot, but I wasn't in a leverage trade for this move. But I think you could definitely set some bids around 40.5. Do I have any free resources you can recommend for becoming a better trader? I think watching my streams could be helpful. I think Trader SZ's streams can help you. I think Trader Main's streams can also help you. A friend of mine, Abe Trades on Twitter, I believe, has a free blog called Trading Riot. And that has a lot of good free resources as well. So there's a lot of stuff out there. To name a few. Litecoin. Yeah, I'll talk about Litecoin. I'll hide this. I am in a long from 174, 173, and then I added at around 200. It's around my compound trades entry, but got rejected here at this 215 level. I wasn't too surprised about that, but I still think we do make a move up to 250. I think it's about time Litecoin starts putting in some more work. Meant to delete that. So I think a retest of the monthly open and Monday's high, you could look for a long around there. I'd keep my stop around this 187 level. That was a nice sweep before this move up. Otherwise, I'll be looking for a flip of 215 as a long opportunity. You could either just use that one line or look at this whole level, see if we like break above that and retest it. And I think that would be a nice long to around 250. So those are kind of my thoughts on Litecoin. I am bullish on Litecoin though. I just don't know when it will decide to moon. Trying to think. I'm pretty bullish on Atom big picture. I'm just kind of waiting for this to play out. That's a tough rejection. I bet these daily candles look kind of ugly. I mean, not horrible, but that one doesn't look great. I do think it is interesting that since the monthly open, we've kind of just gone straight up like everything. We like barely traded below the monthly open at all. You can see monthly open was like here. We just went straight up. It was also the quarterly open, new quarterly candle. Monthly open here, straight up. This has just been ugly, but I think that's interesting. I'm not sure if the monthly low could, I mean, I think it's rare to put the monthly low in this early, but you never know. What time frame do I use to confirm an SR flip? Daily closes, I would say, are the most powerful, but sometimes it comes down to, well, I would say daily and 4 hour are probably the most helpful, but I sometimes just want to see like a big impulsive move above a level, and then just that itself kind of confirms that we've broken through the resistance, and then you just look for whatever kind of retrace you can get. BTC got a 15-minute bull div, but looks like it's on a cliff edge to me. Let's check it out. Oh yeah, that does look like there would be a div there. Yeah. Agreed. We'll see what happens. Kind of, no. I meant if there was one earlier. Yeah, that one looks pretty good on Bitcoin. I mean, I'm no RSI expert, but I can identify a div pretty easily. But yeah, we'll see if that gives it a little gas to push it up. What else was I looking at? Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking for some longs on Atom. It doesn't have to be once it breaks above that, but not quite there yet. It's just one of the coins I have on my radar. A lot of coins look kind of dumpy. I guess a lot of these alts look like this most recent hourly, these 15-minute candles, just look a lot more bloody than Ethereum. Ethereum's holding up pretty well. This might have a nice, oh, not quite. I'm kind of surprised it's not oversold for how much it dumped. But I still think this is okay. I don't think this flat top on that 4-hour candle holds like that. I think this 4-hour price action is pretty textbook in a bullish environment. Like, we're pumping up a bunch. We dump, take out a low, like a key low from a previous 4-hour candle, and then close really strong. I wouldn't be surprised if this candle closes green. It doesn't have to, but I think it could. And I would be surprised if it closes without a wick on the top at all, right? Because let's see, the open and the high. Yeah, the open and the high are exactly the same. So appreciate the content, Cause. Learned a ton from your streams. Good to hear that, man. I'm happy to help. I don't really use indicators, Mike. I mean, like I have these up here, but these are like just identifies weekly highs and lows, which sometimes I'll use weekly ranges, but I wouldn't call that an indicator. I use daily, weekly, and monthly, as well as yearly opens, but I wouldn't say that's an indicator either. That's just some price action. Monday's range, once again, not really an indicator. Sometimes I'll chuck on I think a 200 EMA, but I wonder where Bitcoin's is at. Yeah, I don't use it a ton, but I will sometimes look at where the 200 EMA is. So, yeah, as far as what indicators I use, I don't really use too much. Like, I had to add RSI to my chart to check it out. I don't really know anything about ORN. I don't even know where you trade it. I guess Binance. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could. Weekly has no support. That doesn't necessarily mean it has to go there. I'd say it's sitting on some support right now. This daily demand, and if it loses that, I'd probably be looking down here. But yeah, I don't really know too much about it. BTC's been pulling down everything, kind of annoying. 11 ETH BTC, been watching on low time frames, and it dumps in it. Yeah, Bitcoin has been a bit of a pain, but it's also, hey, it's getting a little bit of a bounce here. The dips have been annoying, like this one, that dump. maybe a couple of these dips here, but for the most part, it's been giving alts the chance to move when it ranges. But could you show us how you usually screen coins for day/swing trading? I don't really have a systematic way of screening things. Sometimes, I mean, honestly, I look at coins whose projects I like for higher time frame stuff like Sol, and then I'll just look at the chart to look for entries, and then sometimes I'll just like look at the top 10 or top 5 to 10 coins on FTX in terms of volume, and then just check out the charts to see if there are any trade setups on them. You bullish on any projects on an FA basis or solely trade? I definitely mostly trade, but coins like FTT, I had been publicly super bullish on Twitter about this in the $3 to $4 range. So, but that was more of an investment than a trade, and it was based on me being bullish on SAM and FTX, and just the market cap of FTT being so low. And that's kind of what I'm seeing with Sol. Like, I think this is the next thing to rip. I know it's gonna sound like pure hopium, but I do think Sol is kind of the easiest 5x. Like, I think Sol has a way better chance of getting to 100 before Ethereum gets to 10K or Bitcoin gets to 300K. I'll put it that way. I think I'm watching too loud. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with looking at the low time frame of coins. I think the key is to just not let it affect trades you're in. Like, if I was in this long and I'm watching this low time frame price action and I see that 1 15-minute rejection candle right there, it could make me feel bearish. But anything can really happen within this range, and it's just chop as far as I'm concerned. But if you get a chance to long at the extremes, your entry is pretty protected even if it does continue to range. So you're just entering. Well, I think Sol, I said FTT, but I mean, that one's already, I guess they've both already kind of gone up. Those are 2 coins I hold spot. Well, 3. These 3: Sol, FTT, and Cope. More so these 2, but I do have some Cope. But yeah, I think Sol and FTT, Serum, Ray, anything that Sam is involved in. I think, yeah, we could look at UTK. As far as supply and demand zones go, here, I will put a link to my friend's article about trading supply and demand, because I think he explains it very well, and I would need to do an entire video to explain it as well as he does in that article, and I just don't really have the time for that right this second. So that article I just put in there is a great supply and demand zone tutorial guide. What's up, Mark? Sorry you missed it, man. I'll post it after when Stuttgart. Hopefully soon. I need to go see my family in Germany soon. What was I gonna do? Oh, UTK. So I've been pretty bullish on UTK for a while. Bought around the weekly SR and in this blue weekly demand. And now I'm kind of just riding spot, so I haven't really done too much about it. But I've posted a few updates about this guy on Twitter. This flip of the monthly SR was the most recent opportunity to get long. And then I would say, as of right now, I'd say we're trading within this range. Wow, look at that. I did not have this drawn out earlier, And look how well the mid-range lines up with monthly SR. Can't make that stuff up, guys. But yeah, so right now I think we're just chopping around in the upper half of this range. And so once it gets above here, I think you're looking for the next leg up, probably to like 1,600, and then maybe this 2,000 zone. But yeah, UTK is good. I do have some. And I'm kind of just letting it ride. I have no idea where I'm going to sell it, but for now, I'm just riding spot. Can I make a video on how to trade ranges? I could do that. I think Trader SZ is a great resource for ranges. He's been trading ranges for longer than me. But like, I have learned some stuff from him. Some stuff also just from my own trial and error, just doing it for a long time. But he's a great resource for ranges. I tweeted about one of my most common, here we go. This is one of the most common range setups that I take. So you can go to this tweet. It's from yesterday or whatever, and you can save that. And yeah, keep an eye out for it. And I kind of explain it as well in that. Sol, FTT, and I mean, those are my big ones. Sol and FTT are two coins I will happily endorse. SXP, let's take a look. Haven't traded this coin in a minute. I guess the first thing that jumps out to me, I bet a lot of people are talking about some kind of like a wedge here or something. Let's see. Wow, that's pretty clean. Look at those mid-range interactions, boys and girls. I don't know who's in here. So I'd say these are kind of the levels I would want to play on SXP. I think a break above this 375. Like, I don't know if this is going to pull back, but just let it do its thing under here, whatever it wants to do. And then when it gets a nice move above here, I would look for some long setups. You explain things so well, so I was just thinking it'd be nice to watch a video and you explaining it. I appreciate that, bro. There's definitely more educational content I want to make. I've just been busy with other things recently. But I do kind of have a list of things. I have a note sheet, whatever you want to call it, full of educational content that I want to do at some point. So I will be doing that at some point. I just don't like, if you're looking to learn something right now, then my videos, I mean, that educational content that I want to come out with at some point is probably not the best thing, because you'd have to wait for a bit. I think that's pretty much it for today, boys and girls. Just under an hour. How old was I when I started getting into all this? Well, I'm 23 now, and I have been trading crypto about 4 years. So I guess when I was 18, 19. I think I'm 20. Yeah, I'm 23. Sometimes I forget. Like, when I just turn the next age, it's like, wait, am I 22 still? TRX, BTT, and OMG. I've never traded any of those three. Actually, I think in 2017 I had some TRX, but I know Kaleo has been talking about those, so I will let him handle the analysis on them, just because I haven't been looking at them. But looking forward to the education. Harmony, I don't really know what that is. One, I didn't even know that was the ticker. Yikes. I probably would not touch this at this point. I mean, if you're in from lower, then great. Otherwise, I mean, same thing as other, that's not ideal. Maybe this. That's pretty good. It did just take out that low. So that's a pretty clean range though. Took out the high, swept the low. If it can get back in there, and then you can look for, I mean, basically this. Here's the range. Oops. Here's the range for you. The range that I think jumps out at me. You can look for this kind of a setup there. All right, I think this is maybe tag 2033 or so, and then I would want to see a bounce from there. Am I a full-time trader? Trading is my main source of income, but I help out a family business doing portfolio research. But definitely the majority of time, I spend more time working on trading than any other job, and it is my main source of income. So it isn't my only source of income, but yeah. Thoughts on NFTs? I think they're pretty dope. I think they're interesting. I don't own any, but I can see the draw. No problem, Abe. Happy that it's helpful. All right, guys. I think I will call it good there. I am still in my long. I'm not too worried about it. I don't think it should come down to 2,000 again, but we'll see what happens. If it does, then I would want to see it be a quick sweep of this low right here and then get back above, but not too sold on that happening. I think the low, I think this could just be a retest of the range low here and then push up from there, but we'll see what happens. It's been a good stream. Nice to get back into it. We had over 100 people in here for pretty much the whole time, so that's pretty cool. If you guys could like the video, that would be awesome. Helps me grow a little bit on YouTube, and if you appreciate my content and want to support me a little bit more, you can use the FTX link in I think it's in the description. It might not be. It's definitely in my Twitter bio, but yeah, it's in the description too. So that's it. Appreciate you guys tuning in. It was a lot of fun, and we will do another stream again very soon. So I'll talk to you guys later.